Throughout the demo, we'll be using three personas. So David is a sales rep out on the road who hates the traditional process of storing paper receipts until the end of the month and then submitting them along with a paper form. When he does claim, he wants his money back urgently. I will show you how you can add multiple cash and mileage expenses immediately using our Zetadocs Expenses app. The second persona is his manager, Kevin, who travels a lot, so doesn't always have access to expense claims that land on his desk. He loathes getting back to the office to find overdue approvals, and going through expenses is not exactly his favorite job in the first place. I will show you how Kevin can easily verify and approve all expense claims wherever he is. The final persona is April in the finance team, and she feels stressed by constantly having to chase overdue expense claims and trawling through receipts, forms, and spreadsheets. She's looking for a process that takes much less time and allows her to get on with her core work. I will demonstrate how she can check, verify, and approve the expense claims that will now be coming in regularly thanks to Zetadocs Expenses. So now I'm just going to switch over to our demo environment. And as you can see here, we have the mobile application, but it works just the same on the desktop as well. So we'll start off as David, and we're going to just create a new cash expense and then a mileage expense. So as you can see here, we'll go straight for payment. And now there's some pre-filled fields here. So for example, the date is already filled in. And then we're just going to go ahead and provide a description for the expense. So we'll just say lunch at Prep. And then select a vendor. So the vendor will be Pret a Manger, and as you can see here, our Remember Me function is kicking into action, and it can notice that David has previously used an expense from Pret before, so it automatically recognizes that as one of his vendors. And then the selected payment method is cash, and we also support company credit cards. Then we select the currency, so we'll be sticking with pound sterling. However, we do support a wide range of currencies as well. And then we'll just go ahead and enter the expense amount of £21.30. So as you can see here, an amber warning has come up because the expense limit for this type of expense is set at £20. Now it's up to you how you specify this. You can choose the amount of the limit, as well as whether it's a hard or a soft stop. So this is a soft stop. David will still be able to submit the expense. However, with a hard stop, it would be a red warning sign, and he would not be able to submit the expense unless it's brought down underneath the limit of £20. But everything looks good here, so we're going to continue. Then we've got the option to create an itemized expense. So this is for the example of a hotel stay, for example, when you have several GL codes within the same receipt, and you want to submit them in one expense rather than submitting several expenses for the same claim. But since this is just one-off, we'll leave that blank, and then we'll just go ahead and provide some justification as to why David's gone over the expense limit. As you can see here, the type has already been chosen because Zetadocs Expenses recognizes that Pret a Manger relates to food and drink business travel GL code, as well as it's already chosen the standard 20% VAT rate. And then we're just going to go ahead and click VAT reclaimable because we know that we can reclaim VAT on this. And again, Zetadocs Expenses has realized that David is within the sales team, so it's automatically selected that department for him. And you can also have the opportunity to choose any projects or jobs as well if that is relevant to the expense. So everything looks good here. So finally, we'll just go ahead and add a receipt. Now, using your mobile phone, you'd use the camera roll or take a live picture. For this demonstration, we'll just choose something we prepared earlier. And as you can see, that's been uploaded. And everything else looks fine. So we can just go ahead and save that expense. And as you can see here on the dashboard, now we have one draft expense waiting. So we've seen how to create a cash expense. So now we're going to go ahead and create a mileage expense. So it's much the same procedure. As you can see, the date is already filled out again, and we'll just go ahead and provide a description of the expense. So say travel to client site. And David can choose the vehicle type. He's only got access to personal cars and vans, so that will be set already. And then the starting point will be our Equisys offices, and then we'll choose a client in Bristol. Now, as you can see here, Zetadocs Expenses is fully integrated with Google Maps. So what it will do, it will choose the most efficient route based on the map distances. You can also choose to add a return journey, which we'll do here. And for example, if David has to pick up a colleague on the way, he can actually adjust the route to take that into account. And as you can see here, again, we have the amber warning sign, but that shouldn't be an issue. David will still be able to submit the expense, and he'll just provide some justification as to why he's taking a slight detour on the way. And then, as you can see here, the mileage rate is automatically set to 45p, and these fields here can't be edited, so it automatically calculates the expense amount based on that mileage rate, along with the standard 20% VAT and the VAT amount, and we'll provide some justification as to why we took a slightly different route. Again, you can see that the type is personal car and mileage, and the department is sales because it recognizes David is in the sales team, and we don't have a receipt to add, so everything looks good there, and we'll just go ahead and save that. So now, as you can see, we have 2 draft expenses, so we're going to go ahead and file a new report. So we'll just have the period start date, and the description is June, already automatically filled out. We're just going to go ahead and add both of these expenses. As you can see, it has the amber warning signs because they've gone over the expense limit and the mileage calculation, but that's no issue. We'll still be able to add those to the report, and we can see the reimbursable amount as well. So everything looks good, so we're just going to go ahead and press submit and continue on, even despite the validation warnings. And while that works, that's basically David's job taken care of. So the next step will be for David's manager, Kevin, to go ahead and process the report. So as you can see here, it recognizes that Kevin is David's manager, so he's been automatically assigned to be the first approver. If there is any need to add an extra approver, you also have that option here, as well as it recognizes that April in Finance is the final processor. So we'll just go ahead and submit that expense. So while that's loading, what will happen next is we can see our submitted reports, and we can see on the home page that we have 1 report that is awaiting approval. So the next job is for Kevin, David's manager, to go ahead and approve the expense. So we'll refresh the home screen, so we can see here there's 1 task outstanding as well, and Kevin will also receive a notification like this one here, basically telling him that he has a report that is waiting his approval. We'll go ahead and go through the dashboard. So we go into our tasks, and we can see that David is waiting for his report to be processed. So we have report ID, all the information there, as well as now we're starting to build up some history around the report, and we can see that it's been assigned to Kevin. So we're going to drill in to each line just to double check. So as you can see here, we have a side-by-side view. Basically the description, all the details that David gave in his expense report, and everything looks good here. So now we have the option to approve line by line, we can edit or reject line by line, or we can approve the whole report. So that looks good. We're just going to go back to the report here and then double check this one as well, as we can see all the information that David submitted. Again, everything looks fine. There's no receipt attached, so there's no problem. So again, we have the same option here. We can edit each line by line or the whole report. We can print, we can delegate or reject. Everything looks good, so we're just going to go ahead and hit approve. Again, we get the warning sign. There's no issues there, so we'll go ahead and approve that. And that's Kevin's job very simply done already. So finally, the expense report will be passed on to April in Finance. So again, all of this process can be done on the mobile application, but we're just showing you how it looks on the web browser. So if we go ahead and hit refresh, again, April will be notified by email, but we can see here on the dashboard that we have one task outstanding. So we're just going to drill into that. And again, much the same as what Kevin could see, April was able to see all the information that David originally provided line by line. You can see that it's been approved, and that the history again is starting to build up even more. So we'll drill into one of these. Again, we've got the side-by-side view. You can see that the expense amount has been breached, but that's not a problem. So we have the option to unapprove, to edit, or reject. But everything looks good in the report. There's no need to reject anything. So we're going to go ahead and hit approve. No need for an approval comment. And that is the entire process done. So at this point, Zetadocs Expenses will then communicate with Business Central and create a brand new purchase invoice. So as you can see here, this is the status section. And basically we can see the report ID as well as any other information, the expense amount, so on and so forth. So if you go ahead and refresh that, we'll see that's the one that we've just created. And as we can see here within the history, it says export of the reimbursable amount has been successful, and this is the number of the purchase invoice that has been created in Business Central. So now the final stage is just to go over to Business Central and view that purchase invoice. So we're just going to go ahead and go into our purchase invoices and find the one that we have just created. So as we can see here, 1075 has come up, and if we open that purchase invoice, we can see all the relevant information, all the GL codes and so on and so forth have been exported from Zetadocs Expenses directly into Business Central, creating a brand new purchase invoice. So yeah, we can see all the information and how quickly and simple it was to export that from Zetadocs Expenses. So that was a good review of basically the whole process. So the final stage to go over is our reporting capabilities. So if we go back into our tab here, so we can see here that we are fully integrated with Power BI, also work with Excel. And basically our reporting feature just gives you a good opportunity to identify different spending patterns. As you can see, there's different tabs that we have open. So for example, we can check by area, by department, on the monthly spend, expense type, submitter as well. So if you want to see who is claiming the most back on expenses, that's something that's really easy to view. And it's also quite easy to spot any anomalies, you know, for example, in fraud detection. So as we can see here, simply just by looking at this, compared to all the other expenses, we can see that these two stand out significantly from the rest. So what we will do there, we can just go ahead and drill further into these. So as you can see here, it says expense ID. So simple enough, we can just go back into our expenses portal and we can see 2160 is the expense ID, and click for search. Hit search. That will automatically bring up the relevant expense report. So as you can see here, all the information that we've seen within the previous example and the amount. However, there doesn't seem to be any receipt available for this one. So we can go back and do some more digging to find out the reason for this. So as you can see here, there are two with exactly the same amount. So this seems like there could be a mistake here. So if we check the other one, which is 2162, we go back into this report. Again, all the information is exactly the same as with the other one, but the only difference being that we can actually see there's a different receipt, as well as the approver is different. So it seems that David has, for some reason, submitted the same expense twice with two different approvers, one having a receipt and one not. So it just gives you an example of how something that the software wouldn't be able to detect automatically, but with reporting you can go in and quite simply view this information and look further into it on your own.